sad and disappointed on my 25th birthday despite my BF planning the whole thing. I feel guilty for being ungrateful. I feel terrible about this. I recognize it may seem entitled and ungrateful. I've scheduled a therapy session to discuss this issue, but I wanted to put my thoughts down here. My boyfriend and I have been together for 7 years, and he's a kind and considerate person. However, he's not the best at giving gifts and sometimes misses certain things. I recently turned 25, and I had expressed to him how important this milestone was to me. I've always been big on celebrating others' birthdays, and I usually go all out with gifts and celebrations. I didn't expect the same in return, but I didn't want to plan my own 25th birthday. My boyfriend agreed that I shouldn't have to plan it and offered to surprise me. I told him I didn't want anything big or fancy. I just want to spend time with my loved ones and feel loved by them that day. I didn't care if we all just went to a local soup dumpling place and had dinner and that was it. As long as my loved ones were all together celebrating my milestone age. Now some background on me. The last few months I've been undergoing therapy because I have an awful tendency of comparing myself to this one particular girl who caused me emotional trauma. I was jealous of her travels, of her BF putting her on a pedestal, of her big friend group. That used to be my BF's friend group until she got everyone to hate him. Of the cute birthday parties her friend's family would throw for her, and recently, of her getting engaged. I've been trying to sort through this issue to always compare, but it kept coming up in the weeks leading to my birthday. I'd randomly break down over realizing I don't have people in my life who go through the same effort to plan things for her, except my boyfriend. He's the one person who ever really put effort into making me happy and feel loved. But every now and then I'm reminded of my lack of community, and I can't help but feel sad about it. I have my family, and I do have friends, but none have really made effort. More on that later. I've expressed these feelings to my BF. We've talked about how nice it would be for this birthday to be different for me to not feel alone and instead feel loved by my family and friends. He agreed and would sometimes even hint that I am loved more than I know and that maybe I don't hear about plans because they're keeping it a secret for my birthday. He even alluded to reaching out to people himself so I could have a separate hangout with friends or family without me having to plan it. So I built this expectation in my head that either my family or my friends were planning something for my birthday. Keep in mind, I wasn't hoping for a party or a celebration or anything extravagant. I was really just thinking they'd plan a simple dinner. Nothing fancy, just somewhere I can eat casually with my loved ones. And the great thing about that surprise was that I wouldn't have had to be the one to plan it. That my loved ones would have taken the initiative to be there and spend some time with me. My bidet comes around, and my BF really did plan a whole day. He got me roses, he took us to a mall we frequented, and we rode the Ferris wheel that overlooked the city skyline. He took me to an exhibit we found out was in our area. We walked around a museum, then he took me to the nicest restaurant I've ever eaten at, and got me a custom ice cream cake with my favorite flavor of ice cream. It was a great day, and I appreciated so much all the effort he put. Now comes the part where I was ungrateful, and honestly, a little hurtful to him. After that whole day, I kept thanking him for everything he did. But underneath me, thanking him, it kept getting to my head that he was the only one who did anything. My family would have forgotten had I not reminded them. My family's celebration was a last-minute dinner. They asked me to plan primarily focused on my sister's baby. Most of my friends forgot or asked me to plan something. I realized no one had anything planned. I mistakenly expected some sort of surprise and ended up with self-inflicted disappointment. So as I kept thanking my boyfriend, that gratitude turned into sadness because I realized he really is the only person who would make the effort. No one else did or would. And that was really lonely feeling. He could sense my mood was shifting, so after we talked about it, I could tell I hurt him. His takeaway from everything I felt was that he wasn't enough for me, and despite him putting 100% of his effort in. This is where we established I needed therapy. Because when he said he put in 100% of effort, in my mind I wished he had done more or done things differently. Because he planned a whole day for me, but what I thought was that he planned the wrong things. I felt guilty for thinking it. I was clear about what I wanted, which was just time with my family and friends that I didn't have to coordinate myself. I wanted to not feel alone or be reminded of my insecurities when celebrating my milestone. He had all these big things planned. I loved that he made the effort at all, and I loved that he did make me feel special. But I feel like he got it wrong. It turns out he didn't reach out to anyone. He was just expecting they'd do something themselves, despite me telling him multiple times in the past they wouldn't do that. I thought he'd help plan something for me that actually addressed the one thing I told him I really wanted. He gave me all these other experiences, and as much as they did make me happy, I wouldn't have minded not doing any of it. I wouldn't have minded a cheaper, less eventful day as long as it had my loved ones in it. I feel horrible. I feel ungrateful for not appreciating what he did. At the same time, I feel frustrated that he missed the mark. He really does try, he just doesn't always do it right. And when I don't love the mistaken effort, it hurts everyone involved. I've told him multiple times I don't like roses, my favorite flowers are daisies. The mall he took us to is a mall we go to regularly. It's nothing special. The Ferris wheel was nice, but we've both talked before about what a waste of money it was to spend $30 each on a partial view of the skyline. The exhibit he took me to was something I told him multiple times before that I had been to already. He says he didn't know I'd already seen it. The museum was a kid's museum. The restaurant was nice, I wasn't lying about that. But like I said, I didn't need a fancy restaurant. He tries, but I also feel like he doesn't listen to me. And I feel awful for feeling frustrated because I'm now getting upset over the one person who even did anything at all for me. Everything I'm feeling is so conflicted, and I know the root of it is my own insecurities and inability to deal with many of those issues. We're not talking right now. We agreed to talk once I speak with my therapist. But I just overall feel horrible about everything.